Hello. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Miranda Wise. I am a writer, a songwriter, an instrumentalist, as well as a book writer and a filmmaker. So I have a little something something for everyone. It's going to be on YouTube tonight, and I hope you enjoy it. Just remember that just a little bit of a disclaimer. There is no cussing, profanity, or any overt sexual content in this video. Okay. And this video is about four young boys starting back in 1969 who decided they wanted to become a singing group, and how they belonged to one record label and didn't get treated fairly, but then they went to another record label, which was Preston Records. And it's just a little thing that I used to always say, what if record labels treated their artists like they should be treated? What if they treated them in a fashion where they would get all the accolades that they need for their talent as far as their payment and things like that? What if we had record labels that actually cared about the talent? Because one thing I'm a firm believer in, and that is you should be paid for your talent, full stop. And you should benefit from your talent, and nobody else should benefit from it. So Preston Records is also one of my fictional stories in a book that I wrote, where the sisters, who were a girl singing group, had belonged to this label because their uncle owned it. And it was based in Washington, D.C. So I hope that y'all really enjoy it. And I own the rights to all the music and all the lyrics and the story and everything. The rights copyrighted under me. So just wanted to let everyone know that. So if, someone get any ideas, you know, not saying that you would, but you never know. There's nefarious people out there. Okay, with that, I'm going to remind y'all to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed the show. And I won't see you again until the end of the last part. There's 7 parts to this story. So we're kicking it off with part 1 tonight. Okay? All right. Take care, and I hope you enjoy. Bye-bye. Part 1, Chapter 1. The 14 boys excitedly signed the contracts in front of them. Their dream had come true. At such young ages, being offered a recording contract was the dream of many young people in 1969. They lived in Philadelphia, and Phi-Del Records had been in operation for nearly 8 years. The owner, a black man in his early 40s, aspiring to surpass Berry Gordy one day. As it stood, Lenny Patton and Ben Richardson had several great artists on their label who were famous at this point. Tommy Johnson was age 15, Clyde Lassiter, age 17, Herbert Hill, age 17, and Vernon Temp, age 19, could only appreciate this opportunity. Tommy, Clyde, and Herbert all attended the same high school in North Philadelphia, whereas Vernon had graduated the year before. A week after signing their contract, they recorded a song titled My One and Only, led by Tommy, whose falsetto vocals were unmistakable. He would go on to become lead singer in addition to Clyde's bass voice. Vernon and Herbert sang tenor. Each of them had a signature style that made the group whole, and Vernon's choreographic abilities added more flavor to the group. The guys' inspiration was the Temptations, but the 5th guy whom they wanted for the group moved to Indiana. We got our own Motown right here in Philly, y'all, Clyde boasted, Once they left the studio, they were headed to their neighborhood off North Broad and Erie. They had grown up on the same street. I know, right? The Temptations better watch out, 'cause Midnight Velvet is on the scene, Thomas added. Man, we ain't never gonna be as great as the Temptations or the Four Tops, Herbert said. Who said we can't? Who? Thomas challenged. Vernon laughed and said to Herbert, he thinks he can sing like Eddie Kendricks, that's what's up. People often said Tommy sounded like Kendricks. Tommy was the first to arrive home, leaving the others to walk another block to their residences. Well, I see y'all this weekend for rehearsals, right? All right, man. Yeah. Once Tommy arrived home, his mother Eileen was in the kitchen cooking. His father had been serving time in prison since he was 4 years old. He didn't remember much about his father as a younger child, and it was only 2 years ago that his mother had begun taking him to visit his father at the correctional facility. Hi, Mom. He kissed her cheek while she stood at the stove. He had an older brother who had just joined the military and was deployed to Vietnam right away. Tracy, his brother, sent letters home as often as he could so their mother would not worry. Hi, Tommy. Get your homework done as soon as you're finished dinner. They lived in a modest 3-bedroom row house with 1 bathroom. The basement is where the guys often practiced their music and dance steps. Yes, Mama. He grabbed a biscuit and took a bite. Remember, no music and no fun until you get your homework finished. Yes, Mama. Is Bill coming over today? He inquired of her new boyfriend. No, he's working tonight. She placed the food on the table and took her place. They blessed the food and began eating the fried pork chops, green beans, mashed potatoes, and biscuits. How was your day, Mama? Good. How'd it go at the studio? They signing us up. I thought you said Mr. Patton needed my signature, and what about Sally and Minerva? She asked, speaking of the mothers of Herbert and Clyde respectively. They will need it, Mama, but for now, they want to make sure we're on board. Okay. I'm going up there the next time you go. I need to read that contract before you guys sign anything. You can't sign anything being underage anyway. Chapter 2. Instead of heading straight home, Vernon stopped at his girlfriend Jennifer's house. He hurried up to the porch, excited to share the news with her. He had gotten a job as a janitor right after high school. Because of having been epileptic as a child, he could not be drafted for the war. He rang the bell. A slender girl with an afro and dark brown skin opened the door. Vernon loved darker girls. He was light brown with wavy hair, tall with hazel eyes, and considered a pretty boy by his peers. But he hated being called that. Guess what? Guess what? You're not going to believe it, Jennifer. Guess what? What? You got the job at the bank? No. They signed us. They signed us. Oh. They signed us. They did? Did they? Yes, they did? Yes, they did. And we'll be able to get our own place as soon as we start getting paid. Jennifer was excited, but she also knew of another group who had signed with Phi-Del Records 2 years ago, and they were still not seeing any money on her boyfriend's parade, so she held out hope that things would be different for them. The other group who had signed were being heard on the radio, their records were sold in record stores, and they had a hit, but were still living in West Philly. Oh, that is so exciting. I can't wait. Vern? Yeah. If the bank calls for the job you applied for, will you still take the job? He shrugged. Oh, no. I might. Maybe it would be a good idea until you start getting paid from that record company. Yeah, you're probably right. Am I? She reached up for a kiss and he leaned down and met her lips. He leaned against the railing of the porch that was shared with the row house next door. She stood before him and they held each other's hands. I want to buy you a nice ring. I want us to get married, Jennifer. Me too, Vern. But you don't have to spend all your money on a ring. I mean, we can save up and get a nice place. She currently worked as a typist for a local paper. She manned the switchboard and took messages. They had been dating since their junior year in high school. But I want you to have the best, Jen. He touched the side of her face gently. I know. I love you, Vern. I love you too. Then they kissed. Chapter 3. The mothers of the boys had signed their permission for them to record with Phi-Del. Nearly a month after recording My One and Only, Herbert was at home cleaning the kitchen when he heard it. What do you know about this girl, huh? Their song on the radio. He stopped, walked over to the window where the small radio was playing, and turned up the volume. He could not believe it. He grabbed the radio, ran across the street, and banged on the door where Clyde lived. Clyde! Clyde, open the door! Open the door, Clyde! Open the door! It was Saturday morning, and Clyde usually slept late. Herbert continued banging on the storm door. Clyde's mother opened the door, totally annoyed with him. Are you crazy, boy? It wasn't even 9 a.m. Herbert's mother worked on weekends, and because his sister had moved out, he was required to get up every Saturday and clean the house before he could enjoy anything playful. Our song! It's on the radio! It's on the radio! It's on the radio! Clyde's mother became excited, hearing the voices of the boys crooning through those speakers. Clyde! She called her son. Clyde! Get down! Hurry up! A sleepy-eyed Clyde arrived at the door. When he heard their familiar voices, he jumped up and down with his bandmates. Yeah. Clyde's mother hugged the boy. I'm so proud of you! Is your mother home, Herb? No, she went to work early. Soon, everyone in the neighborhood knew they were on the radio, as 98.9 played it constantly throughout the day. The boys were becoming celebrities, especially when they were asked to open for the Drifters at the Spectrum later that year. Chapter 4. The arena was full, nearly 20,000 people. The guys were awed to see so many people. They were all dressed in royal blue suits, matching ties and white shirts. You see all them people out there, y'all? Vernon said. Yeah. Clyde said excited, but Tommy was not excited. Earlier he'd had a panic attack, and the guys had to rally around him and support him because he was extremely nervous. When they were queued up to enter the stage, they headed down the corridor and made their first appearance before a large crowd. Clyde began his speech at the intro of the song.
Hey, Tommy. Now, the guys told me you got a new girl. Not getting in your business or nothing like that. What do you know about this girl, huh?
Clyde, love is love, man. And all I got to say is, this is my love. This is my girl. This is my world. This is my heart. And nothing can tear us apart.
Haven't told us how you met her. She's from out of
The other guys crooned out the chorus, and the audience applauded, fueling their efforts to continue giving the crowd what they appreciated. They performed 3 more shows that week before it was over.
Really think this love will go far?
Because she's my girl, my girl.
Right from the
She's my
start.
one and only, my one and only.
Really think this
Happy for
love
me,
will go
fellas.
right from the start.
My girl, my one and only,
Love will go
my one and only, my one and only,
right from the
only.
Their manager, Rodney Thompson, visited them a month later. He brought with him paychecks for the guys and financial reports from the shows they'd performed at. $500? Wow! Tommy exclaimed. He eyed the check with his name inscribed on it. He'd never had that much money before. The other guys were equally excited except Clyde, who was expecting more than that. He said,
all those people at that arena, all them tickets sold, and we did 3 shows and $500 is all we get?
"Well, we just getting started, Clyde. Ease up," Herbert said. However, Vernon did take note of what Clyde was saying. "Well, fellas, we had to recoup funds for the clothes, transportation, too, and my services." Rodney, the manager, piped up, but Clyde said,
That still doesn't seem to add up here.
Rodney looked askance before he said, "I'm just here to deliver the message to you and your payment. I don't make the route."
But you ought to be looking out for us, man.
Clyde said, and Vernon piped in.
He is right, Rodney.
Vernon wanted to be able to take care of Jennifer. Clyde asked the million-dollar question, and that was,
How much of a real percentage are you getting? I mean, how much of a percentage are you getting, Rodney?
"It's in the contract. Didn't you read it?" With that, Rodney closed his briefcase and headed out of the conference room.
Hey, fellas, it's time to record.
Herbert said with a nudge to Clyde.
I don't even know if I'm up to singing today.
"I know, but we got to keep pushing forward, man."
Herbert, our song is being played in every major city in America. Our 45 is in record stores all over the country, and we only made $2,000 between the 4 of us?
Despite the situation, the guys headed into the recording room and recorded their second single called Meet Me, which surged to number 2 on the R&B charts within 3 weeks. Rolling Stones reported that this one being the song of the century by a young group.
Somebody said you wanted to get to know me. I feel the same way too. So I can tell you where to meet me. What time can you come through? 8:00 p.m. at the station on the avenue. Yeah, yeah. Can you meet me? Meet me? Meet me? Meet me there. Can you meet me? Meet me? Meet me? Meet me there.
The guys toured over the next 2 years. Riding on Work were not only 2 hits, but their only 2 songs. It was 1971 by this time, and music was changing. Tempo beats getting faster, no longer the slow ballads as of the 1960s. The Temptations song, Cloud 9, had hit back in 1969 and was still riding high by this point.
Y'all know what? We need new songs.
Clyde said one day as they were looking over a song one of the writers had given them. Herbert said,
This is a new song. I mean, something up-tempo. We keep singing these slow songs, and even the Jackson 5 is singing stuff you can dance to. But our voices are made for slow songs. I can't see us making dance music besides. The Temptations did do a slow number called Just My Imagination. Not all their music is up-tempo, though.
Vernon said, and then Tommy piped in excitedly. I got it. Why don't we write a song about a songwriter writing a song for us?
What? Who's gonna write something like that?
Vernon said, we are. Why not? Let's put our heads together and start creating our own material. Then we'll have more control over our style and what we say in our own art instead of somebody else's words, man.
I'm with it. Let's do this.
Herbert said.
Yeah, I'm in too. I'm in. Yeah, why not? What could it hurt?
Vernon and Clyde agreed respectively. 3 weeks later, the guys recorded the song. By this time, Herbert and Clyde had graduated from high school. Once the song was released to record stores and played on the radio, it landed as number 4 on the R&B charts, number 11 on the blues chart. The guys got on the road in the summer of 1972. This was the first time they felt they were really getting ahead, as the paychecks did start to increase, and Vernon was finally able to get an apartment for him and Jennifer. They married in March of that same year. By then, Vernon was 21 years old. Their national tour schedule consisted of New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Seattle, Detroit, Washington, D.C., Miami, and internationally, France and England. They were embraced warmly in France, and they got to meet the Beatles while in England. Songwriter remained on the R&B charts for weeks. Chapter 6. Have you given any thought to going to college next year? Tommy's mother asked him one day when he was in the kitchen reading a book. I know you've been touring and everything, but it's always a good idea to have something to fall back on, Tommy. It was the end of the summer. He had just graduated a couple of months earlier. His mother was proud of him and believed in his talent, but she was realistic. Herbert and Clyde were working part-time jobs without any inspirations of getting a higher education. She wanted her son to be different and to go in a different path. We are making money now, Mom. She joined him at the kitchen table, touched his shoulder and said, Thomas Leon Johnson, you are a very smart kid, and I've always believed in you. Money can be fleeting, but education is permanent. He looked at her, blinked his eyes a couple of times, allowing her words to sink in. Maybe I'll go to Temple. That's a good choice. I just want you to think about it. Well, good night, and don't be up too late. You still need your rest. She brushed her hand over his short hair. She stood, kissed the top of his head. Good night to you too, Mom. Chapter 7.
I told y'all something wasn't right with this money. I told y'all something was going on with this money.
Tommy heard Clyde say once he met the guys at Vernon's apartment.
These reports ain't right. We are not getting all we are supposed to get from our European tour. They did not pay for our costumes or our food.
Maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they made a mistake, Clyde. Herbert suggested.
How's it a mistake, Herb? They know they didn't make no mistake. We had our stuff tailored.
Herbert's uncle had tailored their outfits for the tour with the agreement that he would be paid later. Now they had to figure out a way to pay his uncle. Yeah, something doesn't seem right. I called Rodney. He said it was the flights and the hotel stays. Vernon said as he viewed his report.
These numbers for travel and hotel look inflated. They can put anything they want on this report, y'all. I want to see some real receipts. Some real receipts.
He tossed the documents to the floor. Vernon's wife sat on the sofa near him. She agreed that something was wrong.
Added to that is the fact that we sold out every single one of them venues, and this is the thanks we get. We need to shop around for a new label.
Wait! Should we just talk to them first? I'm sure Mr. Patton wouldn't...
Tom, I'm done talking. Okay? I want to take action. I'll get a lawyer and sue that fool if that's what it takes. I'm with you. If it wasn't for Jennifer having a job, we wouldn't even be able to pay our rent,
Vernon said. Herbert and Clyde shared an apartment. They both worked part-time, which gave them the flexibility to travel. Now, as it stood, it did not seem like that was even paying off. A week later, Clyde and Herbert went to visit the record label owner, Ben Jefferson. Although Mr. Patton ran things, they thought they would go straight to who was really the machine behind the operation.
Mr. Jefferson, respectfully, we just want to know why these expenses are on this report. And I think we should be reimbursed for it. This is coming out of our pay, and it's not fair, sir.
Ben was a man standing around 5'9", girthy, dark complexion, with graying hair. He also wore suits, and a cigar was always in his left hand. He leaned back in the high-back chair in his office. The guys did not miss the fact that the entire studio had been remodeled since they signed on with the label. They were the highest-selling group in the company.
Patton handles all the financial information. We've already talked to him. He was the one who told us that you had to recoup food and clothing. We have our own tailor, and we're paying out of pocket. Sorry, fellas. It's out of my hands.
So we can't get our money back? Herbert finally said.
I'm saying you need to talk to Patton, and we'll give you a credit on your next tour. Man, that's bull! You all are not going to get away with this,
Clyde said, springing up from his seat, standing before the man's desk.
You under contract. Yeah, well, that can be changed. Come on, Herb, let's get out of here.
Herbert shot Ben a nasty look before the guys left, slamming the door behind them. Ben remained emotionally unaffected by the interaction. A door of what looked like a closet opened, and a middle-aged Italian man emerged from an inner office. He had dark hair, was tall, and well-dressed. You could almost smell the money on him. Looks like you have a problem, Jefferson, the man said.
No, I know what to do.
Yeah? Looks like he's figured out how to keep as much money in his pocket as possible, the man said, referring to the fact that the young guys seemed to know how to get discounts and maybe even cut deals of their own. Only companies were supposed to have those types of connections and expertise. The next thing they'll be doing is learning how to get flight and hotel deals. We cannot have that, Ben.
Like I said, I know what to do.
Then get to it, the other guy said before heading out of the office. Ben picked up the phone, dialed a number. Once the party on the other end answered, he said,
I need you to take care of something for me.
He hung up calmly and lit another cigar. Chapter 8. Clyde finished closing the restaurant where he worked before heading down the street to the bus stop. That stroll down Lancaster Avenue made him think. Think about the fact that he should not be catching the bus. He and the guys have been working their behinds off. For what? Pennies? Nah, this should not be happening. It was after 11 p.m., dark, and in the middle of winter, early January 1973. It had snowed earlier that week, and the ice on the ground had turned black from motor oil, tires, and pedestrians. He shoved his hands into his jacket pocket while walking. Just before arriving at the bus stop, he felt his body being shoved forward. He tried to defend himself, but he realized there were two of them, as one of them held him while the other punched him in the face and the body several times. They dragged him into an alley, shoved him onto the ground where he landed on grit, trash, and broken glass, and the smell of urine and garbage assaulted his nostrils despite it being so cold outside. He felt himself being kicked and stomped. One of the men reached into his pocket, removed his wallet, and took the $55 he had there for his rent.
Next time, keep your mouth shut, sucker,
one of them warned before they took off running. He heard an engine rev and tires screeching in the distance. He coughed, trying to catch his breath. He felt blood trickle down his face.
Help! Help! Help me!
He managed to say, but his voice felt constricted. He could feel himself fading, as if he would go unconscious. He could hear the faint sounds of a man and a woman talking. Her voice was soft, and he heard the man laugh and say,
What the? Oh my goodness.
The words hung in the man's throat. Clyde heard at least 2 sets of footsteps running towards him.
Hey man, you okay? Man, hey, yo, you alright?
The couple stooped down near him. He felt gentle hands on his face. Oh my word, Sam, he's hurt. And that's all he heard before fading out. Clyde opened his eyes. The room was bright. The blur of someone with a white jacket on still over him. Once his vision cleared, he realized it was a young black doctor. The man had jet hair and light brown skin.
Mr. Lassiter, where am I at? Where am I at?
You are at Mercy Douglas Hospital, sir. That's when he remembered being attacked.
Did they catch the guys who beat me up?
I don't know, sir. But you will live. Your friends are here to see you. They are out in the lobby. You want them to come in?
Thanks, doctor. Please, please.
I will go and get them, and I'll get your autograph later. The fact that that doctor recognized him warmed Clyde's heart. Added to that was the fact that the doctor had good bedside manners. The other 3 guys entered the room. Tommy looked the most concerned.
Oh no! Man! Who did this to you, man?
Tears ran down Tommy's face.
Do I look that bad?
Tommy nodded affirmatively.
Not really. Tommy's just soft like that. He's a mama's boy.
Herbert said.
That don't mean I shouldn't have feelings, man. This is wrong.
Vernon finally stepped up and said,
Hey, Clyde. What happened? I don't know. I was walking to the bus stop and somebody jumped me.
You think it was someone Ben Jefferson sent after you? I heard he's pretty ruthless. Simon from the group Echoes of Love told me he went to Ben about payments from his song. And after that, somebody shot him. Tommy looked alarmed. He couldn't take it anymore. He turned around, placed his hands over his face, and let out a breath. This is getting out of hand. This is getting out of hand, guys. They visited Clyde until visiting hours were over. Once they were outside and was approaching Vernon's car, Tommy spoke up. Y'all know what? This ain't even worth it. I quit. We can't get paid the way we should be, and if you speak up, you can get killed. Oh man, come on, Tom. I don't think we should quit. We can try other things. Like what? Who is going to sign us, Herb? You think Barry Gordy is one day going to look up and see us? We probably been badmouthed to Gordy and other labels out there anyway. I can't, man. Gordy ain't the only one out there. Okay, he ain't the only one out there either. Who else, Herb? Who else is out there? Who? Listen, let's do our research and find them. Could be a new label looking for talent like ours. You never know. And go through the same crap we just went through? Our friend is laying in the hospital, fighting for his life, trying to look out for us, all of us, for doing the right thing. I understand that, guys, but listen, okay. But I just don't think we should quit. We shouldn't give up. We have a God-given talent that we are just going to throw away. They want us to quit. They want us to get scared and run. When the guys fell silent, Herbert added, well, can we move forward? It may not be tomorrow or the next day, but something new happens in this world every day, fellas. Every single day. Herbert punched his right fist in his left hand for emphasis. Finally, Vernon said, Herb, I got a wife. I'm about to become a father. I'm 22 years old. I need to be responsible. Being an artist is not being irresponsible. It's not, but my child will be born in April. That's 3 months away. I gotta feed that child immediately. It's one thing for me to be a starving artist if I was single. It's something altogether different if a child is starving. Herbert then turned to Tommy. What about you? Tommy shook his head slowly. I'm going to college this fall, man. But Tom, you could still do both. Tommy looked up at his friend and said, how? It was hard enough getting through high school and being a singer and all that touring and traveling. College will be way harder. Herbert knew he'd lost the vote. There was no use pressuring Clyde. He caught a beatdown that was likely meant for all of them. Looking at the results of that beating told a story. That was supposed to be for them all. And Clyde had received everyone's share. Everyone piled into Vernon's car. The ride back to North Philadelphia was silent. Everyone in his own thoughts. Herbert was disappointed. Vernon was focused on taking care of his growing family, and Tommy was planning to leave in the fall for higher education.